Hey everybody, welcome to Ask Dr. Testosterone, starring Dr. George Tulianos, brought to you by his books. The first one, Bodybuilding, the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Excellent overview of all the PEDs used in our sport, doses, side effects, cycles, things like that. And then the sequel written last year, because drugs alone are not enough. You need to know training, nutrition, and supplementation. Put it all together so you can have the best physique possible. Those are available on Amazon.com. Also, check out the doctor's website. You can see behind him, gtool.com, gtoul.com. Tons of great info and articles on there. And if you're on Amazon, might as well just get my book. You're already on Amazon. Real Bodybuilding. What a great book. And now, from Athens, Greece, please welcome Dr. George Tulianos. How are you, Doc?
I'm fine, Ron. Today, after 2 weeks of visiting the gym with cables and machines, I decided to check out how's my strength doing back in the free weights in the house of pain. So the reps were the same, but the weights felt kind of heavier. And my explanation to this is because I stopped for 2 weeks and all the secondary muscles of balance that improve in your muscular contraction of the free weights is gone a little bit. So that's why the free weights felt kind of heavier, even though my strength 90% is almost the same. Yeah, the same reps with the same dumbbells, you know. Yeah. But the take-home message is nothing substitutes the free weights. It's the medium potatoes, you know, it's the basics. But of course, the price is high to the joints, you know.
I mean, you just had back surgery like a month ago.
No month ago, was the beginning of April. But I'm doing good. I mean, listen, my workout at the gym is a joke, okay? I'm doing the strength hammer machines, which is so easy and so funny, even if I'm loading 2 or 3 plates, you know?
Yeah.
I'm having a good pump, basically.
Yeah.
And I'm pushing myself to the limit, of course, but it's fun, you know?
Yeah.
You know, you're not gonna suffer with the weights, the free weights that are gonna break you down occasionally, you know? So I think that perhaps 10% off, you know. So I pushed myself today to do the same reps, and it felt kind of heavier. So I guess yes, if you are used to free weights, you're a Superman, you know, you're a powerhouse. Yeah. But if you get used to cables and machines for the sake of the protection, I think you might lose of this kind of density and hardness and this look of Dorian and Ronnie, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there haven't been many bodybuilders that were really thick and dense that train mostly on machines. One of the only ones I can think of. Do you remember David Henry? He won the 202 Olympia. He's one of the best 212 bodybuilders.
Giant killer, yeah. He was before Flex Lewis, yes.
Yeah, he did. I've seen him train. It's a lot of hammer machines. You know, he loads up a ton of plates for back, for chest and all that, but it's still machines. And he was, I don't know, maybe he's just a genetic freak, but
he was grainy, you know, he was shredded.
Crazy chest, crazy back on that guy. Oof. But you know what, Doctor? You put up current videos, current pictures all the time. I think you have more muscle mass now than when you competed. So
I don't know. Listen, yesterday I posted a video of my heaviest. It was 202 when I was 36.
Yeah. And
frankly, to tell you the truth, I was not using GH back then that much. Okay, just for a few weeks.
Yeah.
Of course, I was injury-free back then. My muscles perhaps were more fresh, you know. Perhaps now I have more maturity.
Definitely.
But to tell you the truth, I couldn't lift the lifts I'm doing today, the dumbbells, the 110 dumbbells back then. I was just lifting 100. My personal best was 100.
Oh, you're stronger now.
Perhaps my legs were stronger back then. But I don't know if I'm going today down to get ripped, if I'll match this, perhaps the same body weight. But you told me that I had potential to the classic physique.
Yeah, there was no classic back then.
Because I was not shredded back then. I was ripped. Right. But if I want to become striated glutes, I had to go down to 187, which is actually the limit of my classic.
Perfect.
There was no classic by then, I guess.
No. Do it, Doc. Do it. Everybody, if you want the doctor to come back, make a comeback in classic physique.
Oh, give me a good reason, Ron. Come on.
Well, if you get like 1,000 people telling you they want to see you, come on. That's got to be a little encouragement, a little motivation, right? if I had 1,000 people telling me to compete, I'd still say nah. But anyway, all right, Doc, let's get in some questions. We got some great questions over this last week. Proviron, because we talk about Proviron and we both use it. You mentioned using Proviron as part of your HRT, Doc. Can it be substituted by Masteron? If so, what would be the suggested amount per week?
Well, I think you should stick to Proviron, but if you don't have it in the States, and if, of course, SHBG is elevated, we're talking about replacement therapy, then either you should increase your dose of testosterone, modify your protocol from frequent dose to less and bigger doses. But if SHBG insists to be elevated, then you should use Proviron, drostanolone propionate, which is 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, according to the half-life. And listen now, if you take 50 milligrams of Proviron a day, you eventually hit 350 per week.
Right.
So if you take 300 milligrams of, if you take Masteron every other day, you hit 300 milligrams.
Yeah. So the same amount, basically.
Yeah, roughly. And of course, the injectable goes rapidly to the system. I doubt if all the Proviron is assimilated, you know?
Right.
Anyway, so yes, every other day, 1 ml.
Perfect.
Or you can do every day, half a ml. But pinning yourself to come on twice
it's a lot of
yeah.
It's a lot of shots.
Yeah, right.
Next one. Hey, doctor, I'd like to know for an older person that just walks and exercises a little bit, what is the best vitamins to take for blood circulation or to improve blood circulation in the body?
Well, there is an element called ginkgo biloba. It's antioxidant. It improves circulation to the brain and to the limbs, I guess, but mostly to the brain. So it's good for those who have some kind of dementia, amnesia, you know, I don't say Alzheimer, but
it's memory loss
for students, yes.
Yeah.
For the oxygenation of the brain, you know, and the circulation. I give it to my mother.
Ginkgo. Yeah, ginkgo biloba. I took that years ago trying to make my memory better, but I don't know, I'm still forgetting shit. Anyway, next one. He says, let's say I want to add add to my 150 milligram test base. I want to add on 100 milligrams of deca and 150 milligrams of Masteron. Could Masteron potentially get rid of all the water retention created from the test and deca in order to keep myself lean and cut, whilst concurrently taking advantage of the deca strength gains? We all know estrogens equal strength, but could the cycle mentioned above potentially make sense?
No, listen, I think that the water retention comes from aldosterone, so it has nothing to do with aromatization, and estrogens are not produced in such low amounts. And besides, those tiny amounts are not. So I'm gonna support the strength, you know, this is minimal dose.
Yeah.
So I don't think so. No. Masteron will perhaps prevent some aromatization, but the water retention coming from aldosterone, deca, and perhaps a little bit of T will not go away, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's funny how people worry so much about water because, you know, you got to have water. Your body needs all this water, and they think water is going to, if you're very lean, get rid of the body fat, and you're not going to be that watery looking.
Exactly. If you are 7%, what water?
Yeah.
Get rid of this 2%, you know, and then think about the water. So remind some people that taking Lasix to go to the beach, and they are 10% body weight, you know. I mean, it's crazy. It's pointless.
Yeah. You've seen what I look like right now, right?
Who?
Me. I'm pretty lean and hard looking, and I'm on test and deca, and I don't think I'm holding water because, you know, my body fat's down. I think most people,
I think in 4 weeks you can become ripped.
Easy. Oh yeah, I could. Easy. I could, but I won't. Anyway, next one. Hello. Oh, this is a question for me, Doc. Sorry, but you can weigh in. In a previous episode, Ron, you mentioned the fact that you never donated blood before. Is it because your hematocrit was always low? Is there any other reason why? If so, how did you deal with hematocrit levels when on cycle? Well, they never got high. And am I just lucky, doctor, that my hematocrit never got high?
You're very blessed. Yeah. Well, from one point, let's say you're closer to anemia. You're not anemic, of course, but you'll never hit erythrocytosis and have this fear and nightmare. to get pinned with large needles that hit elephants in order to suck your blood. Yeah, so you're below 50%, I guess, hematocrit always.
I mean, when I've had blood work done for the past like 20 years, they've talked about my liver values, sometimes my kidney values, my creatinine, but I've never ever had a high hematocrit ever. And I've done a lot of steroids. So I guess I'm just lucky. Next one. Dr. T, I know there are a few researchers about tomcat, ali, and fenugreek and their ability to increase testosterone. Have you got any patients who tried to naturally maximize their testosterone by using these supplements? And what's your opinion on them? Tomcat, ali, and fenugreek.
Well, I'm aware of fenugreek, but it's not the first component I'm suggesting. So first of all, it's zinc. Then it's also zinc as ZMA or zinc 50 milligrams at night with PCT, of course, in natty people, okay? Along with 5,000 IUs of vitamin D3 in the morning. That helps in people who are hypogonadal and want to elevate their testosterone. And pre-workout, tribulus, D-aspartic acid, and maca. Now, fenugreek, is another component, but frankly, all these are promising snake oil, So in the very end, I think what works is PCT and a little bit of them,
Is fenugreek originally from Greece?
I have no idea, but the second part of the word is Greek.
It just made sense, but who knows? Okay. Okay, doctor, do alpha-2 receptors get saturated from yohimbine like beta-2 receptors do from clenbuterol? I'm trying to figure out if I need to cycle yohimbine with 2 days on, 2 days off method that I use for clenbuterol.
I have no idea. Why don't you check it out yourself and see how it works? I mean, using continuously yohimbine will have the same effect day after day, you're going to get used to it, But mind that yohimbine is an acid drug that may stimulate blood pressure, okay? And heart rate, of course. But the only benefit is that unlike ephedrine or caffeine, all the stimulants, it doesn't lead to vasoconstriction of the penis. So you can still get laid with yohimbine, have, a good workout and then have sex. Because if you take stimulants like ephedrine, your dick is down. There's no blood down there.
Yeah, it's true, man. Pre-workouts are the worst. They're great it's funny because most of them, they're supposed to be pump products, but they have so much caffeine in them, a lot of them. They totally defeat the purpose of vasodilation.
Same way, cocaine for men is not a good idea to get laid. For women, it's a different story. And actually, for women, it's anesthetic, local anesthetic, but for men, they use anesthetic in order not to ejaculate. But it's not a good idea, because vasoconstricts, unless you have taken, of course, Viagra cells,
Right. But, women's sexual performance, any problem that they have can be solved with lubricant. That's it. A guy, it's a lot more complicated. He has to get an erection and maintain that erection. A woman,
come, eventually,
eventually you want to ejaculate, right? But with a woman, their biggest problem is that they're not making, they're not getting.
This happens, of course, over 40. But there are some women that even in the 30s, they don't have the urge and the sexual, arousal. They're so cold and repulsive. Come on.
This is why women on steroids are the best. Anyway, next.
They're very aggressive on steroids. Women on steroids. They get on top, like rodeo.
It's awesome. All right, next one. What is this? Does a HbA1c of 6.0, is that high enough to add metformin? If so, would 1,000 milligrams once daily be enough, or would more be beneficial? Also, is it important to stack metformin with GH at 4 IU daily? So,
6% is a lot. You're pre-diabetic already.
Oh, wow.
You should follow a keto diet or low carb, at least for 1 month. Apply cinnamon in your foods. Use chromium picolinate, 400 micrograms, perhaps some Vanadil, plenty of lean animal protein, tons of vegetables and good fats, and wait for this to go down. And actually it takes a lot of time because A1C applies every 3 months. So forget about GH as long as you are pre-diabetic.
Wow.
So A1C has to drop at least below 5.5. Yeah,
I wonder if this guy even realizes he's pre-diabetic.
I don't know how he got there, but you know, eating junk food and having a flabby stomach contributes to that. Of course, GH abuse, but if you abuse GH, you're not flabby,
I
obviously.
mean, well, I mean, and even, you know, he's talking about 4 IUs of GH. I wouldn't consider that abuse at all.
No, but he's not in the level to start, you know, yet.
Right. Okay. Here we go. What do you think about nonstop usage of a low dose of HCG during TRT? Is there any risk of desensitizing the Leydig cells in the testicles, or is this just a myth? Currently, I'm injecting 500 IU of HCG 2 to 3 times per week, and my main concern behind that protocol is to retain fertility. Should I take time off or replace HCG with something else from time to time?
No, you can follow low dose. Let's say 100 IUs every day or 500 IUs twice a week, you know. That now the desensitization is more likely to happen when you use larger doses for PCT, let's say 5,000 IUs, which is an extreme dose. And actually, this is what they use in children for cryptorchidism, you know, when testicles are in the inguinal cavity, in the abdominal cavity, and they have to descend down to the scrotum, you know, to the nutsack, which is empty, has to be filled with the testicles. Otherwise, they die into the abdominal cavity, and it's a highly risk for testicular cancer. Okay.
Oh God.
So we use HCG to make them descend and go down, you know. But it's crazy to use large doses of HCG, you know. It's not something smart. So smaller doses apply better. And of course, you keep the testicular production of testosterone alive and Sertoli cells, you know, and you keep fertility, of course, and perhaps some steratogenesis. It's good to have it.
But you're saying you can use HCG indefinitely. You don't have to stop using it.
Small dose. I don't stop. I use it 3 years in a row, and I triple my sperm volume. You know.
Wow.
But I remember Rich Piana used to say to do PCT or to use HCG into the cycle. And initially, my thoughts were as Rich that you switch the when you do PCT, you switch on to produce testosterone, and when you use cycles, you switch off. So it's kind of complicated if you use it on the same way. But if you want to blast for a prolonged period of time, let's say pre-contest of 4 months, okay?
Yeah.
In the end, if you don't apply any HCG, your nuts are going to be so small, and it's very hard to restart again your production, not only testosterone, but also fertility. So apply minimal doses. The point is, if this is pre-contest, then HCG will perhaps retain a little bit of water. It's better to do it during the off season, you know.
Right.
But eventually, if you don't apply HCG, you're gonna have a hard time afterwards. If you want to recover, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's you said it. You said it all. The testicles, they get very, very small.
Yeah.
Because they don't need to do anything anymore. Yeah. So now we go from HCG to HMG with our next question. Is it better to use HMG during PCT rather than Clomid? If so, would a daily dose of 75 IU be okay, or every other day?
During PCT or TRT?
PCT.
No, during PCT, I prefer to use HCG, not HMG. But if you want to have much better fertility and conceive, then the combination of HCG and HMG is miraculous.
He asked, that was his next question, was what would a matching dose of HCG work with it synergistically?
So 1,000 IUs every 3 days of HCG, along with 75 of HMG the same days.
Okay.
Okay, this is the fertility protocol, along with vitamin E and zinc. But the PCT is another thing, is just HCG for a brief period of time, and afterwards the SERMs.
SERMs, yep, okay. Okay, here's a guy who's just as old as me. He says 51 years old, been on TRT 9 years at 200 milligrams per week. Over the last 3 years, I've been blasting and cruising, but I just don't seem to get anything out of it, even on 750 milligrams a week. Would resetting my receptors help? If yes, how should I do that?
I would suggest in this age, forget about blasting. Stick to your protocol, okay? because 750 is not a minimal dose, especially if you're over 50, okay? Get used to this and forget about these gains in this age, because the blood pressure may be the silent killer, you know, and prostatic issues as well, you know. So 750 is a lot. Now, I wouldn't say that it's downregulation of receptors with such a dose, but perhaps the gear is fake, you know. So maybe underdose testosterone or something else. I don't know.
You know, he's only been on it for 9 years. He's been blasting, but I mean, I can tell you that the same amount of steroids don't do for me now what they did for me 10, 20 yeyears ago.
Yeah, okay. The saturation receptor theory is something valid, okay?
Yeah.
Something that occurs, and it's a solid, how you say?
It's real. It's not a myth.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Next one is, I got a bug in my eye. Hi, doctor. How would you know that you are taking real Anavar? What should I get from real Anavar or being fake? What signs should I look for in my body? What would Anavar do?
Well, you shouldn't have gynecomastia or tenderness in your nipples with Anavar, no word intention. And actually in sports, in CrossFit and in athletics, what we searching from Anavar is speed. Okay, speed, explosiveness.
Yeah.
Okay, and strength, but strength not the strength that comes out of high androgens like halotestin or trembolone or testosterone, but strength into the particular exercise, you know?
Yeah.
Not necessarily, I mean, maximal strength, okay, but velocity, speed, explosiveness, okay, and overall strength, of course. And actually, Anavar is anti-catabolic drug because it doesn't retain water. It's useful for the diet to preserve the muscle.
Yeah.
It's highly anabolic, like Winstrol. They have the same anabolic index. And milligram per milligram is more anabolic than dianabol, but the benefit of dianabol is to retain water and form this pseudo effect of bloating and growth.
Right.
Okay? So use Anavar precondition in order to retain the muscle as you're killing the fat.
So
You don't expect to use Anavar in the off season to grow. Come on.
Well,
No, if there's no growth, no water retention, no.
I mean, it works for women, but for a man, I would say Anavar in the off season, dude, you're going to need so
In the off
much
season
Anavar.
for women, I would use MPP or natural decaminated primo. Excellent. Low androgenic in low dose, of course.
Yeah.
And then you apply Winstrol and Anavar for the cutting.
So I guess a good thing to tell this guy too is because Anavar is faked a lot. It's so expensive. Real Anavar, drug dealers try to sell you D-ball, Dianabol, or Anadrol.
Yeah, but it's really recognizable, this thing.
Yeah, if you get a big puffy face.
And dying over here. Yeah, so check out your reasons before and after.
Yeah. Okay. Final question. Do you remember this guy, Paul Borison? He says, what's your opinion on Paul Borison's cycle many years ago? He used to do 10 ml of AAS every day for 18 days, a mix of Test, Deca, and Primo, and also 55 IUs of insulin and 8 IUs of GH. He's dead now, but what do you think of that cycle? Oof.
In one word, crazy. Come on, it's a serious talk. Come on, go on.
Yeah, that's nuts.
So listen, if you apply so much gear in 18 days, what the hell are you gonna notice? Come on, just floating.
Yeah.
Muscle growth in 18 days. What is this?
I mean, it's
an anti professor.
It's like you can't try to eat 1,000 grams of protein a day. Your body's not going to use 1,000 grams of protein.
Reminds me back when Stallone had his In-Stone supplements in Greece. So I took the whole bottle of 100 aminos and I swallowed them.
Ah, why?
Yeah, and because I felt I was going to be more jacked.
The whole bottle?
The whole bottle, 100 amino acids, BCA, yeah.
Oh my God. And it probably costs a lot of money over there because you had to import it too.
Yeah, okay. I made a bit sacrifice, but I was burping, you know. They were so acidic. And I thought I was going to be more stronger, you know, or more jack bullshit.
Yeah. You know what, Doctor, this is why you're the best person to do this show, because, you know, you walk the talk, but you did all the dumb meathead things when you were young that everybody does.
I have to tell you when I noticed strength real, when I took 5 animal packs at once. I took them the day before, the night before, and the following day. I mean, honestly, my strength was perhaps double. 5 animal packs.
You don't think that was all?
So I guess 50%.
You don't think that was all in your head? Like a
No,
placebo,
I
placebo
felt a
effect.
serious kick at the gym.
Wow, okay.
Frankly, yes.
Okay, cool. Well, doctor, that's all the questions we have for this week. We appreciate you being here every week to answer the questions. A medical doctor who is also a two-time national bodybuilding champion, correct?
Yeah.
Two,
And one
three?
Grand Prix, yes.
One Grand Prix. Yeah, you don't have many of those in this world, guys. Very, very few. So please check out the doctor's website, dtoul.com. Get his books on Amazon. Follow him on Instagram at Dr. George Tuliatos. If you have questions for the next episode, please leave them here in the comments underneath the video. Of course, subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video, comment, do all that good stuff. Please, guys, we really appreciate when you do that. So, doctor, thank you so much. Always a pleasure.
So I counted my muscle development columns, and so far there have been 30.
30. Wow.
And approximately 70 pages.
Yeah.
You know, so about it's 35,000 words. It's almost all 2 of my books are within the magazines, you know, all of them chopped down in articles.
Yeah, I think I do that every month, but that's all I do. I'm a writer. I don't do much other things. So.
Yeah, and then from I told you that from October I'll switch to Q&As.
Yeah, and that'll be interesting.
Seriously,
too.
There's nothing more material to write down.
Well, the Q&A, we haven't had a good PED Q&A part of the magazine for a very long time. So it's actually a really good thing that you're going to be switching over to Q&A.
I think Dan the Chain was back in Masteron, I think.
Oh, Muscle Media. I mean, Dave Palumbo used to write a Q&A. Bill Llewellyn used to write a Q&A.
Yeah, Bill also, yes.
But we haven't had one in a long time. So
Ronnie has Q&As, and Ronnie and drug free, of course. Huh?
Oh, I'm saying the athletes still have Q&As, but there's no actual expert opinions on PEDs and stuff. Nothing like that. Certainly not a medical doctor. So this will be really cool to get back in the magazine. So looking forward to that. All right. Thank you, doctor. Thank everybody out there for watching. Stay tuned here for next week on Ask Dr. Testosterone. We'll see you later.